Alright guys, welcome back to Wild Outdoor Living. Today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of bike packing gear versus bike touring gear, and so you can decide what type of setup you would like to use. Regardless, it's all bike travel, it's all good as long as you get out there and you're having fun. For the sake of this video only, we're going to assume that bike packing includes soft bags with basically bags that strap to the bike, no racks or panniers involved, and bike touring is going to be the opposite. So it's going to include racks that bolt onto the frame and then panniers that hook onto those racks, and any other gear that's kind of associated with that style of bike travel. Now there are hybrid setups. We're not going to get too deep into those, but after you've heard the pros and cons of each, you can decide what is going to work best for you. And maybe you'll decide to mix and match. So the pros of a bike packing setup: it's generally going to be lighter, it's going to be more efficient, it's going to handle a lot better off-road, so it's really popular with mountain bikers. You can put it on any bike, and it's generally considered to be more reliable off-road. So racks tend to break when they're jostled quite harshly, which is what happens on rougher trails, and bike packing setups kind of avoid that issue. So the pros of racks and panniers: generally the biggest pros are more convenient. You can take more gear, you can take more comfortable gear, you can take more food. It's a little bit easier to get at. It's easier to get panniers off and on a bike than it is to get frame bags on and off a bike, and so it's just generally more convenient, and that's why it's been popular for a long time. There's also generally a wider price option for racks and panniers. So if you have a cheap bike that already has rack mounts on it, it's pretty easy to get a cheap rack, a cheap set of panniers, and you can be off on your way. And so even though bike packing allows you to use whatever bike you have, the bags are going to be more expensive, and the gear that goes in them has to be more compressible, has to be a little bit higher quality, and so it's going to be more expensive as well. So bike touring does have a possible cost advantage, but again, it can be argued either way. Ultimately though, the pros and cons really aren't set in stone. There are bike packing setups that are way heavier than other bike touring setups that I've seen, and so depending on how you set it up and where you're going, it could go either way. And so you've got to try it out for yourself, kind of see what works for you and the trips you're doing. But in general, those are going to be the pros and cons. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below and let me know what kind of a setup you're using. Yeah, we'll catch you later.